I almost put on the seatbelts. It's
Hate for you.
muscle memory. You sit in the seat, you put the belts on. Yeah.
Yeah, but hate for you to fall out of while we're doing a podcast. And they just wrecked Pitton in the duels.
Sounds familiar.
Casey Mears ran over Gregson.
Casey Mears. Okay.
Yep, and that brought a caution out. So
Now recording.
Yeah, I'm pretty torn about today. It just bittersweet.
I snagged an 11th, even though I had to take that penalty. Several people got their penalty right when they wrecked.
well, a few of us were close. So that's encouraging now.
I led for like 40 laps.
Probably led 20, 25 maybe.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating. It was one fuel stint.
I was better than leading. I was the guy saving fuel right behind the leader. It was like the best spot.
Anytime I went to the outside, I could not lead. Nobody could push me. I don't know if it was just because they were bad pushers that happened to be behind me. Because I had pushers that could push me good the other day, but I kept getting stuck with people who couldn't push. But every time I pushed, I could push them right to the front, and then they'd jump down to the inside.
Nobody wants to side draft enough. That's the biggest issue I saw last night.
All right. Well, we're
What's up,
close enough.
Westbrook?
Let's go.
Hello.
Okay, so let's roll in. You got recording on? Yep. 3, 2. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Brad Wren.
Daytona 500. Oh, so close.
P2 for you. Great run. David Hall.
We're going in circles again.
Back to season. William Westbrook.
Oh, god dang it. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm not touching the circle stuff. I've committed to one NIS race, and I think that's about as much as you'll get from me.
On today's show, it's Daytona 500 week, and the start of NIS is I'm Sorry Enough. We will look at many long-term hardware reviews. Is a Heiskenfeld 1 a hate it or love it wheel? Find out why you need SimHub as an eNASCAR GOAT returned, and a guest with a very unique connection to sim racing.
All right, Mike, and remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
All right, we're going to kick off topics with a video from Tony, Mike.
Yeah, so cool to see Tony Stewart put up on his social media channels a video of him and his spotter getting ready for the truck race that he's going to be running, I believe, tomorrow night, and for Ram. And so Tony is back to NASCAR after a very long time, and he quickly points out he's the second most winningest driver at Daytona, but he's in the truck in iRacing with his spotter watching from above, and they're just practicing getting reps. He's at the end of the race. he's pushing a guy. They're talking about going up, and the spotter's giving him all the cues, and they're just trying to get get a feel for each other. And so Tony does take a moment at the beginning to talk about iRacing specifically and how cool it is and all this and that. We get a good look at his rig. Brad, you kind of detailed out his hardware.
Yeah, looked like Isotech base, steering wheel. He had the Huskenfeld ultimate pedals. Saw the Huskenfeld shifter. So nice rig. TJ Bell's the spotter for this race, and it was interesting to hear them talk back and forth. And the biggest thing that I took away from it was there's the importance of the communication. And Tony needs to know what TJ means when he says certain things. And they were kind of walking through that, and Tony was even asking him, what basically, what are you going to say? And TJ said, well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to kind of walk you through. And that way, when the spotter says something, Tony understands what he means. So, look, they're going to work together for one race. I don't know if they've ever worked together before or not, but it takes typically, quite a bit of time to to build that trust and stuff. And what you typically see, say you're going to go into the new season, you got a new spotter. A lot of times during the off season, they'll watch tape together, and the spotter will make calls, and that way again you start to get an idea of how that what's the spotter saying, what's their tone and whatnot. But I just think it's really neat to watch them do this because it's not like watching a tape. I mean, it's live, and he's able to call Tony. Tony's able to hear clear and all that stuff, and just super cool. What a great tool to be able to use.
I thought it was neat that Tony talked about, well, here in the sim, actually can see everything. I have really good visual, but when I'm in the real truck, I'm going to have the wraparound, I'm going to have my helmet and all this. I won't be able to see as much, so I'm going to have to trust your call. When you say low, I'm just going to go. And they kind of work that out between them about, if he says it, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
It's very cool for sure. Let's go on to open wheel racing. It's not sports cars, Will, but it's a little bit up your alley. You want to tell us about the next one?
I don't like Formula, man. Open wheel's not my thing. I thought it was gonna be my thing, and I tried
It's
it for a little
it's.
while, and
I don't think
but
it's
yeah,
anybody's thing.
it's more on the road side than the oval side. It's a video by Emil Bernstein. I just butchered that. Um, Bernstorff, sorry. So he says iRacing has a formula problem, and here's how to fix it. Emil's a very good driver. He's 9K, I think, in Formula I rating. Um, and he gives about a 10-minute video about what he would do to fix iRacing's what he thinks is their formula problem. Because a lot of open wheel outside of like the FF1600, and we saw a small bump when the Indy Light car came out, but I think popularity for that series has dwindled since we've gotten a season and a half along. But we'll just go real quickly through his 6 things he would do to fix iRacing Formula Series. First, he wants to establish a dedicated IndyCar Road Series. He proposes putting that similar to IMSA. I kind of disagree there because IndyCar has a full season too. So why wouldn't you that compare it to NIS? I mean, I understand. I think he's talking to just the road side, but you've got a real life series already. I'm not sure if you're trying to change things why you wouldn't mirror it.
We already have that. You're right. We'll talk about it
Yeah.
later in the show, actually. So.
So I'm not sure what an Indy road series does. Is my point. Yeah. But he would expand the Formula special events, reform the Formula license structure, improve the F1 tire modeling, implement driver aids for learning, and fixing the contact and netcode model. I don't think. I mean, it might be worse than the open wheel cars. I don't think that's an open wheel specific thing though. So again,
Some of his
not my
ideas are
thing.
okay. Look, the part about the special events, I think he points out there's only two right now that are open wheel special events. And so is he right that we need more open wheel special events? I think we do. and he had ideas like, hey, let's have a special event Long Beach at IndyCar. Well, look, we already have the IndyCar series, which we're going to be talking about later. Let's turn that Long Beach into something special. Let's make it a full distance race or something. Let's promote it. Let's try it. Let's get it
But
on a broadcast.
aren't the Indy car series full distance races anyway? At least that was last year.
I
Yeah,
think you're right.
I haven't looked.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I
they're
haven't
full
done it, but
distance.
I think you're right.
Yeah, but I think you could make some of them a little bit more prestigious. If yeah, I mean, again, I just sometimes I don't know. I don't think there's certain aspects of the service that don't get enough um, attention. Look, it was a big deal when we got IndyCar back, and I mean, it's a huge deal. But I still think they could probably do some more work on that. Just again, you've got a game coming out next year. Why not continue to talk it up? Do some special events. Um, even if it's just it's like no different than NIS. Yeah, we have full distance races. We don't do any special time slots or anything. It's all in the same cycle, but there's more made of it when it happens.
The license structure part too, I really was keen on his idea of rearranging that a little bit, where the Indy Next is really the B car because of how hard it is to drive. Right now, it's a C, I think, and so he suggests, oh, F3 and Super Formula Light in C, and then B is Indy Next, and then A is IndyCar and Super Formula.
Yeah, I think the reforming the license structure was the only part of the video I like completely agreed with. And again, I could be far off because I don't do the open wheel stuff. I've driven Super Formula Lights a few times. But his license structure here, I think, hits on something he didn't talk about actually, and that Formula has a lot of cars that are way too similar to each other, and the classes cannibalize themselves. I think that's why you don't see a lot of these go official sometimes, is because you have cars that are way too close doing the same thing and only slight differences.
Will we ever fix that until we get to 1 million subscribers, or more? What where we get to a mass where it's going to populate no matter what car it is. I think eventually we'll get to that point.
I don't think you do, and I think part of that is the elimination of or is fast track. There's no incentive to stay in cars anytime longer than getting your get your SR and get your NPR up and then move on. That's all there is. That's I think that's one of the downfalls of fast track is you don't spend any time in those lower classes um, to where you can you get time in the cars and you spend an entire season in the car.
Hashtag down with fast track.
Title idea, David.
All right. I'll take the next one. After a heated discussion on Discord, this is a forum post from Andrew Dixon. I thought that I'd ask the forums. I apologized on the radio, then admitted fault in the discussion afterwards on Discord. Seemingly all is good, but got protested anyway. Then he does a poll question with 100 votes coming in on yes, always protest, even if there's an apology, it means nothing. No, if they apologize, move on, or only protest malicious attacks. And it was 52% said no, 35 said only if malicious, and 13% said yes. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, almost all the time when they apologize, they really almost didn't do anything protestable anyway. Usually, the really protestable stuff it comes from people who are complete uh, imbeciles and are unapologetic about it.
Right. If they maliciously ran you down or ran you over under a caution or something, he's not apologizing over the radio, right? So I think I voted the number with B. No, if they apologize, I move on. There's no need to involve iRacing in a protest, and that's how most people voted on this. If you do have a friendly back and forth, and he takes the apology, and then you still get that email the next day, from iRacing. That would rub me a little the wrong way a little bit too, but it kind of depends on how the wreck went.
Here's another thing that happens often. A guy will apologize, and then the person who got hit will continue to just tear and tear and tear and tear into him on comms after they've already apologized. And then that will piss the person who apologized off.
Yeah, so for me, I think it entirely depends on the incident. Like David said, normally if it's something worthy of protesting, you're not getting an apology anyway. But um, I just to me, it's the incident. Like I generally don't protest anything anyway, unless it's ignorance or just stupidity, like a bad rejoin. And then you know, unless it was plausible that he actually couldn't see me coming, or I mean, he still should be watching the relative, right? So I don't know. I agree with David. Generally, you're not going to get an apology if it is protest worthy.
All right, what's next, Brad? Something about an 8X.
Yeah, we've got it's a TikTok video here from Niche GTM, and it says $51,000 motion rig broke in epic fashion tonight on a live stream during a drag racing wheelie. So, we talk about motion, and yeah, this guy's he's got full motion, and he's in a drag racing simulator, and he goes up in a wheelie, and then the thing looks like one of the uh, arms basically snaps, and you see the whole thing kind of laying on its side. So, um, yeah, that's expensive.
That would be my luck if I got motion, guys. I would like be jumping my car at Sonoma, or at Bathurst. You know how you go over the big old jump at the bottom of the hill, and that thing would land, and oh boy, it just it falls over on your side or something, or takes out your monitor. Uh, didn't Joe Owen take out his drywall once because he had the rig too close?
All right. Necessary or nerdy, William?
I couldn't believe this when I watched it. There's a short Instagram video of this older gentleman, and it cuts to a video of somebody asking him a question about his cars, and he has a spreadsheet for every car in iRacing. It seems like, or I guess this is iRacing, um, with just all stats and settings and everything for I don't know how many.
He's got a tab for every track
Yeah.
inside that Excel for that particular car, and
Yeah,
he has
and
an Excel for
like
every car.
yeah, it's insane. There's absolutely no way I'm this anal retentive about anything like that. That good for him because it was crazy.
Yeah, think this is probably a console game or something. Whether it's I don't know, it's one of them because some of the cars we don't have in iRacing, but
Yeah,
I mean, look, I can remember back in the day having some spread, having a notebook with setups and stuff like that because you just didn't have some of the availability we have now. I mean, look, on the iRacing side, when it comes to setup, I mean, all that stuff it's in the setup. There's a spot for notes if I need to make notes or whatever. I'll put in there, but yeah, this is my guess is he probably spends more time in Excel than he actually does on the track.
yeah, that's what I think. It's Forza, by the way.
What of 'em, I don't know the names of them, so
Yeah.
but I could tell by the car list that it has to be one of those.
So can you imagine having a conversation with the old Forza guy and saying, "Yeah, if you come over to iRacing, you can actually export the setup," and he'd be like, "What?"
Like to a spreadsheet?
How would Ryko feel about that? All right, he's coming back. Guess who's back? Back again. Rhea Fella, the four-time champ, is returning to the Pro Qualifier Series, and it looks like he's sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
Yeah,
welcome
he
back.
I think he finished top 5 in the truck race this week, which is the first round. So I don't know. I mean, Ray's again, I would call him definitely the eNASCAR GOAT. I mean, four-time champ, but was he out? I think he was out last year before last. Just yeah, he didn't do much at all. I think this is I almost put this up there in like the Kurt Busch uh, area as far as car change, and some of them just don't adapt to it very well.
Kurt or Kyle?
I'm sorry, Kyle.
Yeah, because I was going to make that reference. In fact, that um, yeah, it's just not the car, and I haven't done great with it with this car either. It's a different skill set, and in some ways, it neutralizes his skills.
And that takes us to a press release about the upcoming Coca-Cola iRacing Championship Series, and they're kind of lumping all together the normal Coke Series that we referred to, but also the qualifying series before it. It's going to be 4 truck races and looks like 7 or 8 Xfinity races, or O'Reilly, I guess you call it. O'Reilly Auto Part vehicles, and then they move on to the regular Coke Series, which starts May 19th at Charlotte in the Cup car.
Yeah, so actually in the qualifying series, the first 4 races will be the trucks. Next 4 races will be in the B car or the O'Reilly Auto Parts car, and then the last 3 will be in the Cup car. So
Oh, I see.
yeah, they will transition to the Cup car before that. So yeah, so 11 races for the qualifying series, and then the once we get to the eNASCAR series, it's 13 races. So like Mike said, it'll start in May and will conclude in October. So hopefully this year's a little bit better. I mean, I'm gauging they're still going to do the silly draft thing or whatnot, but I don't know. This is just doesn't seem to be as big as it was at one point. I mean, when this was first launched years ago, I mean, this was to get there was impressive, and the names that were in there were very good guys. And I don't know. We've discussed quite a bit over the last couple of years about the racing and stuff, but it would be nice to see this turn back into something that's a little more enjoyable to watch, to where it's not just like they have been somewhat just a bad driving and almost just the symptom of what we see on a weekly basis.
I think this boils down to race length. They shorten these races, and it's never been the same since.
Yep, race length and it no longer being a true meritocracy. All right, this one I can definitely jump on the rant for. Please fix the cone. We've been waiting nearly 18 years. This happened to me in my A Open race that I ran Tuesday. Um, Went down to avoid a wreck, or maybe it was. I don't remember when it was. Actually no. Hell, at some point I crossed into the pits avoiding a wreck that was at the tri-oval, and yeah, you get hit with a minute and 40 seconds of penalties because you're just avoiding a wreck, and needs to be fixed. Just like there's a whole bunch of other race control issues that it's time they jump on this and make it a priority. I care more about this than a graphics update or um, really just about anything else. I think this is, other than the bad stewarding, is the number one thing that needs to be worked on.
Well, there's lots of low hanging fruit, on the NASCAR side. I was thinking to choose cone. Like, where's the choose cone?
See,
It's
but here's the thing: if it's low hanging fruit, they'd fix it. I don't think they can fix it, and I think that's inherently the problem.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how they fix it without it being exploitable. That that's the thing. I don't disagree it needs to be fixed. I just don't think it is easy for them. Or like Brad said, it would be done already.
What would they exploit though?
I mean, how do you propose they fix it?
Well, they just need some kind of AI stewarding that determines you avoid we're avoiding a wreck, particularly if the yellow just comes out right and you enter the pits from where you enter it. It's pretty obvious.
Look,
So
the
if
AI
somebody
thing.
and if somebody If somebody
AI.
starts trying to use
Sorry,
it, but if somebody starts trying to use it to exploit it, they'll just get banned.
look,
I
the
mean, we
AI
hope so.
stuff is coming on quick. That's probably the answer because of how fast it's developing. I could see that in, you know, hashtag soon iRacing years time, that something like that could work, where it could make an intelligent decision about what's happening and make a call that's probably 90% right and probably way better than any system we have now. Look, I'll give you an example. At work, we have access to Gemini Pro, and it's an internal AI Gemini, and it knows all the systems, the internal systems that I use for my job. And I was fascinated when I start putting in some very technical questions about how much it knows about what I do. And I was just, and I'm like, boy, this isn't too far off. It really isn't.
Yes, Mike, but that's because it can just repeat information back to you. We're talking about making judgment calls. That's where I don't think it can be very good. It's got to make a judgment call. Hell, we complain about the real stewards making judgment calls.
Can't we just have the AI watch Nim Cross and his team for 3 months, absorb all that information, and then
So we
they
have
have
more
a
bad so we have more bad stewarding calls? Yeah, perfect.
fix the stewarding or the race control stuff. Really, there's a lot of, the you got to catch up to the pace car, but you can't because you have to wait for the guy who just came off pit road. The thing David doesn't like. Yeah, we got to get that fixed.
All right, we've got some updates from the Sim Racing Expo, Brad.
Yeah, no, so been trying to kind of put some of these on there. I didn't see any releases this week, but just going to keep us up here as a quick hit, just to remind everybody that it is Memorial Day weekend at the Charlotte Convention Center. So that's yeah. As soon as we get a few more, we'll put them on here. But we've seen quite a few announcements already for hardware manufacturers, ENAS, sports teams, and whatnot. So
And who's going besides you, Brad?
I don't know. Bobby's talked about going. I guess William's going to go. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm kind of considering that golden ticket that does the Hall of Fame and the 600. If I can find someone from around here to go with me, I'll do that. If not, I'll just go up for a couple days for the Sim Expo, come back down.
Yeah. Well, we got to hook up. I'll buy you a beer.
All right, sounds good.
I had a listener in the chat today, Kat, was asking if we were going to be there, and I told him, "Oh, I'm not, but Brad will, so go find Brad."
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna stay at the hotel that's right there. It's like a 3-minute walk from the convention center, so I'm not into having to drive a whole lot. All right, I'll take this next one. We said last week we had talked about the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup North America. We didn't have a whole lot of information on this, so I did do a little bit more digging. Got a link to a forums post here, which gives you some more information, the Discord channel, and whatnot. Then we actually have the news article here from Porsche itself. Give me a little bit more information. It's again, it's gonna be a 6 race championship to mirror the Porsche Carrera Cup North America races in the virtual world. So, again, everything's gonna be run through iRacing. So, uh, qualifying series starts the 18th to the 25th. That'll be at Sebring and Road America, and then the 6 races will start the 18th of March at Sebring. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that will take advantage of this, but it seems pretty neat and love to see again, real world car manufacturers and stuff, getting involved and putting this stuff up. That's what we enjoy.
Yeah, I see in the comments, Joe Peak said there'll be a time attack on iRacing starting February 18th to determine who qualifies.
Yep. So those first two tracks that Brad mentioned, there'll be time attacks. One will start the week, and the next one will come up, I think. And then they take the top 40 combined times on both tracks. Will go to the series.
All right, not a car manufacturer, but an equipment manufacturer. The next event is sponsored by MPI. It's the MPI Challenge. It's the ARCA stock car at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And there's going to be time attacks already going, and they end on the 19th with a championship race on February 25th. It's in the ARCA stock car, if I didn't already say that.
Yeah, I forgot to do this last week, and I'm going to try to remember to do it tonight. But it's still going on, guys. Get involved. It could be fun.
So is the prize an MPI wheel?
Yeah, there's 3 levels of prizes. I think you get a gift card from MPI and iRacing credits as well.
Cool.
All right, we got an event coming up not this weekend, but the following weekend, Bathurst 12 Hours. It's all GT3 cars. Is it running the 5 start times or the 4 start times? It's
I think
4.
it's just the 4.
Or
Just the
yeah.
4. Um, 30-minute warm up, 12 hours. Weather's dynamic. God, can you imagine rain on this track? It's going to be a
Oh,
nightmare.
it poured last year the whole time.
Okay. I don't think I must have missed it last year. I don't remember why I didn't end up running it. Me and Tom are running it. We couldn't get it as usual after Daytona's over. Um, everybody on the team stops running sports cars except me and Tom. So it's just us two gonna try to run it in 12 hours.
And then
We
there's the
also
Indy
Yeah, we
cars.
also got the IndyCar iRacing series, which is the equivalent of NIS. Tell us about it, Mike.
Yeah, and I was just looking. It does appear to be full distance races, as Brad alluded to. Like for example, Worldwide Tech Raceway, 280 laps. Indy 125. It's kind of hard to read, but yeah. So these are full distance races. This follows the IndyCar schedule, like Will was saying. So like what let's take this schedule and make a couple crown jewels or special events out of them. That's what that guy was saying.
So I've tried to get into watching IndyCar beyond the 500 several times, and I just haven't gotten into it. How many tracks were we missing from their season? Because I know they've got that club track they go to occasionally, whatever it's called, that we don't have in iRacing. Is there many more?
Washington D.C. and I presume we have a placeholder. I think it's the Circuit Jill Villeneuve. I think that's when the Washington race is supposed to be.
No, they go to. I don't know if they still go up there or not. I don't know. Well, look, I will. So I think the only race that's on here that's not full distance is the 500, which is not billed as the 500. Of course, it's just it's 125 laps. So they do pull that one out, I guess. But I probably don't get. I bet you don't get points for it though, like we do with NIS.
Why should we have that separate? Like, I think it would be good to have it part of the series and then make it full
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Take the crown jewels or turn some crown jewels and maybe you do like NIS. Maybe you take these back to I don't know, you have to do half distance. Maybe you do, I don't know, 3/4 distance or 2/3 and then pick a
60.
few. Yeah, pick a few and make them, some of the more iconic events on the IndyCar schedule. The 500, you know, um, you know,
Maybe
uh,
the opener, St. Petersburg, or
yeah, Long Beach or, Detroit. I mean, there's some on there that are just, Mid Ohio. There's certain ones that are just classics when it comes to IndyCar and make those special events. Same thing we do with NIS.
and
Now, there is one logistical thing that for the Indy 500 they run the separate qualifying split system rather than splitting you by I rating. You're split by your Q
maybe
time,
that's
and
a
it's run in a
technical
separate session.
challenge. Yeah.
And I think it's the only. It's also the only qualifying where you have to have the 4 lap average. You don't just take your best lap.
Perhaps that's why it has to be a one-off because of that special qualifying. Now, this next one, I'm going to give iRacing an F for effort. I mean, they got this out. a day before uh, the event started. I mean, come on, guys. You can get it out a week
Every
early.
every year, Mike. It's like
It's
this.
just ridiculous that NASCAR is always the afterthought.
Yeah. Any special event on the calendar is like, whoops. Yeah. I mean, yeah, every time. Every time.
We literally got it the day before it started, but it's a nice looking poster, or I guess. Yeah. We'll
What
talk
else we
more
got
about
this?
our runs at the 500 later.
Yeah, what else we got this week?
Just as we talked, the iRacing Daytona 500, and as we also mentioned, the NASCAR iRacing Series has officially kicked off. Still have the super late model tour going on, and then which is actually restarted. So this will be week one of 27. So their new race schedule starts this week as well. So
And
they
one of our listeners said they moved it so it doesn't conflict with NIS. It's on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday now instead of
it's
Wednesday.
yeah Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So looks like it's at 2 p. Tuesday. You got two time slots: 2 o'clock GMT, 2100 GMT. Thursday's two o'clock GMT, and then the Saturday's 1500 GMT. So that makes sense. I think you get a little more, probably get a little more participation if it's not in the same time slot as NIS.
Look, if I had a different work schedule and my evenings were open, I'd probably be running that Tuesday night and then running NIS Wednesday night. Just, try to do them both. Podcast housekeeping, leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out our Discord and get involved in the discussion. Lots going on over there. We have our website, iRacersLounge.com. Lots of work goes into this, guys, for you guys to see it. It's really good to look at it while you're listening to the show. And then we are in regular rotation at the Performance Motorsports Network, and get your merchandise at iRacersLounge.shop. We got to talk fantasy real quick. You guys got your picks set, or
No, I
Not
haven't
yet.
set yet, so I was waiting to kind of see how we come out of the duels.
well, let's
One of,
invite the
one of,
listeners to get
yep.
involved. Yeah, I mean, now's the time to get involved, guys. This is the week where you would pick up your phone, get the NASCAR app, and find iRacers Lounge.
So if you go to the show notes, there'll be a link in the fantasy section that'll take you to the NASCAR.com as far as the league page. So that'll be there. Just look on the in the fantasy section on the show notes.
I went to the app and it's not really ready for you, or it wasn't a couple days ago for me to make picks and stuff. So it looked a little weird. I wasn't sure what to do. I'm sure it'll be better as we get into the weekend.
Yeah, you can make picks now. I did check that tonight, but like I said, I'm waiting until the duels finish.
Are you like? We're gonna looking at like did somebody lose their primary car in a wreck or something like that?
Oh yeah, yep, that happened already in duel number one.
All right, our first hardware is a Sparko seat. It's nice looking. It's the Evo Carbon. It's boasted as weighing less than 10 pounds, being one of their lightest, only 12 with the padding and cover. I think that's really more important for an actual race car, so that because it allows them to put the weight where they want. Whereas we probably don't care about where this how much the seat weighs as long as it's not impossible to mount, right?
Well, if you got motion, I think it'd be a benefit.
Yeah, lighter your rig is on the motion, better, right? But look, for me, it's about the look of it. I love carbon fiber. I mean, it's just you see a Porsche made out of carbon fiber or something. I'm just like, ooh, and or anything made out of carbon fiber, I just love. Uh, but when you get a race seat like this, Brad, I'm afraid to even look at the price, to be honest. But
Yeah, I'm not even going to look.
It,
William
do you want?
obviously
Do you
did.
want to know? Do
yeah,
you want to know? $1,800.
oh my gosh. But
Now
wouldn't
they
that
have
look good?
several. Yeah, they have several Evo type things, but they're all around that price tag. I mean, it looks fantastic. I would actually like it, but yeah, that's insane. I mean, it's because it can go in a real car, right? Like you don't need that for your sim rig, but it still looks good.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think you're going to get that much more performance out of a motion rig if your seat weighs a few pounds less than you probably can lose in a week of dieting.
Yeah, you still say how light it is and stuff. That doesn't even register with me. It's all about the carbon fiber. Yeah, that's why I would buy it. But yeah, 1800. Yeah.
All right, this next review it's a full motion kit. Tell us a little bit about it, Mike.
Well, I was hoping Kyle Randall would be here for this one because this is the one he bought.
Chris,
Chris.
Chris, did I say Kyle?
you
Chris
said Kyle.
Randall.
And
Sorry, Chris.
Kyle Randall and Chris Pendergraft.
Yeah. So so he bought the QS 210 cubic system and he put it in. He's installed it over Christmas and he's been running it just a few weeks so far. But this is Mike from the Sim Den, and he did his full review on this. And he talks about it. He talks a lot about it. The tiered pricing. You could do a 2.5 starting around 3,800. Uh, and it goes up from there, and so you can get into the more expensive ones. He talks about the performance and the feel of it. He talks about the software and the importance of that, making it work. Uh, the ease of the software, setup and installation. It was heavy. It's easier to do with two people kind of thing. Uh, Pretty straightforward. Conclusion, it is the one to get for enthusiasts willing to invest in a premium refined system that balances performance, software polish, and ease of use. Now, look, we've seen these really cheap units that you can get on, the Chinese web, Temu and stuff. But, you remember, you're buying more than hardware, you're buying software too.
Yeah, I mean, Chris has talked about his, in some of the races, and we've had chats, and he's happy with it. He said it took him a little bit of time to get it dialed in, but it's one of those things where once you've got it, you're gonna find you can't race without it. So he's been happy. It's one of those things. It's just I just don't think I'll ever do it. It's just I can't justify that cost. I just can't.
Uh, yeah, I used to be completely with you, Brad, but it's amazing how far we've come. When I started sim racing 2 years ago, any type of system like that was 10 grand, right? So in just 2 years, it's kind of amazing how far we've come. I wrote off motion because I'd always heard, you're never going to be as fast. You're slower with motion, and a lot of people are starting to come around on that. I don't know if it's advances in the motion or just people's thinking has changed, but I've heard several drivers, fast drivers, people I watch and trust say that it's actually kind of better now. So I don't know. I still don't think I'll do it. I'm kind of with you. I don't think I'll do it, but coming around maybe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would rather. I don't know. I could spend that money on doing some other stuff and adding more to. I'd rather go to larger screens or do something along those lines. I mean, like I know I'm going to have to probably rebuild the PC. I'm planning it at the end of the year. Well, that's 1,500. It's probably 2,500, 3,000 bucks to do that and do it right. But the goal there is to get that to last for a few years. So it's just one of those things. I don't see it as a necessary thing for me. I mean, it's like Mike in the active pedals. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, would it be nice? Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't think I need it. I've been happy with the haptics. Um, and for me, that's good.
Don't underestimate haptics. I actually had a viewer in my stream ask about getting the belt tensioner or the haptics. Which one should I get? And I actually told them haptics first. You shouldn't get the belt tensioner first.
See, I'm
I
thinking,
agree.
I'm thinking about potentially maybe splurging on belts at some point. again, that I can somewhat, that $1,500, something like that. That's workable. It's just when you get up into the 3 and the 4 and the 5,000, it's just my wife would have heartburn like crazy.
I've said it before, but the neatest experience when we went to the expo was the even though it was a mega sim racing, you know, setup. I forget which company it was. The belt was what I would notice the most. Every time I was on the brakes, it was really cool to just feel like I was actually on the brakes. Just feel like I was being thrown forward in the car.
The best experience for us was watching the beard.
Well, let's swivel to the next topic on that note. So, um, well, since your head was swiveling, William, you get
Did
this one.
did you give yourself a loss of words there? Was your joke that good? Yeah, Advanced Sim Racing put out an Instagram video. They partnered with Robert Wickens, the driver who is paralyzed and drives in the Michelin Pilot Series, or at least he did. I'm not sure where he's at now. Did he get a GT3 ride? Didn't he get in a Corvette?
Yeah, he was in Corvette last year. I haven't heard anything about this year yet. He did
Okay, yeah.
the non-endurance races last year.
Yeah, so obviously, I think we've documented before the modifications that are made to his real car so he can get in and drive. But Advanced Sim Racing has designed a seat that swivels, so it makes it easier for him to get in and out of. Because it'd be fairly difficult for him to get in a rig like mine. I have problems enough getting in mine. I couldn't imagine what it would do for him. Did they say, is this something they're going to make commercially available, or is it just a collaboration with him?
I didn't see anything, but I'm sure that if you probably for the right dollars, I'm sure you could do
Right.
something. But yeah, super cool. I love to see stuff like this. I mean, I'm trying to, like you said, I'm trying to imagine him coming out of his wheelchair and trying to to get into mine. I'd be like, again, it's you have to step down into mine. I can't even imagine. But something like this to be able to pull the wheelchair up right beside it and then basically just kind of hop over and then turn yourself around that's super cool.
Look, when I first saw this video, I wasn't really thinking about Robert. I was just thinking of myself. Like, man, this looks like you just walk up to it and the seat's already turned sideways. You just sit down. You don't even have to step into the rig. Like, I want this for myself. This is awesome. Am I that lazy or
Yes,
Yes.
you are.
It's tempting.
it looks so
I
cool?
My seat's high enough, but I have gotten to the point where, particularly so that I don't use it to climb out, I take my rim off every time I get in and out of the rig now, for the most
Okay.
part.
All right. Well, but you're closer to the ground than all of us are anyway. So
I was also concerned about is it adding height underneath the seat that my rig and my whole design is not ready for, and then my seat ends up being higher than it needs to be because of the slider.
that's why you don't need it, Mike.
Okay.
That's why you
But
don't.
it does. If you look at it, there's quite a bit under
Right,
there.
it's
You'd have
four or
to
five
pay
inches,
attention.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm always looking to add height.
But what my point is, you'd have to lower the overall base where the thing is mounted 4 inches for it to line up right if you had one of these. So it's not as easy as just bolting it on, I think.
Well, I see on this next topic, probably, maybe the reason I've had such rough luck at Daytona this week. We have a Stream Deck, or not Stream Deck, Steam Deck running iRacing. And the Steam Deck is basically a computer completely dedicated to just running Steam games. I don't know much more about the architecture of it, what if it actually has any kind of operating system underneath it or not. But this is essentially what looks like almost a Game Boy type situation because you can run it either on a TV or on a little Game Boy. It's kind of like the Nintendo Switch in a way, right?
That's what it looks like, and I see that's a tour mod. So I wonder if this is the guy that got into Bobby last night and wrecked him.
Yeah, must be.
Is this if you guys remember? I don't know if well, I know that Will wasn't around, but the April 1st where they were going to do iRacing Mobile. This is probably about as close as you can get.
Look, it's a handheld that you could be riding on a bus or something playing iRacing with this thing. I mean, this is on Reddit, a post on the iRacing Reddit by Threshold White Kid, and he's got a full blown version of iRacing running. You can see the relative box and everything.
So, how close do you have to put it to your face to get the right FOV?
Ouch. Is this why they can't hold a lane at Daytona?
That's how I started the topic, basically. Yeah. All right, long-term review, Brad.
Yeah, we've got a video from OC Racing discussing the 1 year after or 1 year later with the Conspit Aries wheel. So, kind of runs through some of the talking points here. Price and build quality, increased power. You know, he said the Aries wheelbase offers 12 Newton meters of torque. You know, for only $540. You know, distinct design, solid quick release. It is PC only. So some updates that have occurred over the last year. They completely redesigned the UI. So now it's the Conspit Hub 2.0. And I think we remember talking about this. You know, when Conspit first came out, one of the things that was said was the software was still pretty basic, I guess. But he did say that they have done some upgrades through that, some quality of life changes as well, some auto apply features. But again, on track performance, been super happy with the improved detail. You know, it's got a 23-bit optic encoder, natural force feedback. He says instead of an over sharpened or artificial effects, it focuses on the core sensations, like the wheel naturally getting heavier under load and lightning when it's loose. You know, conclusion is, hey, you know, it's matured. The Aries has matured and Consbit, and one of the strongest valued propositions in sim racing. Ecosystem, while the ecosystem and regional support are still catching up to mainstream giants, you know, like the Mosins and Magics, but the hardware, the software performance continues to make some good moves. I mean, look, we talked about it. We joked, you know, probably a year about Conspit being, you know, ghostware because we could never find anything, but we've seen them just continue to bring out more stuff. You know, and he's not the only one that's done some of the reviews on this, and they've gotten decent reviews. So that's good. I like to see these long term ones because I think when someone's looking to buy something, it's one thing for somebody to sit down and use it for 2 weeks or a week or whatever. But you know, it's nice to see some of these reviewers actually do, you know, year long, using that as their primary driver and then giving us a nice review.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't have strong opinions on the Conspit stuff. I think for the value, I think we've highlighted a bunch of their stuff, and I think the value is there. I don't have a strong opinion on it. It's not something I'm going to buy myself. But I'm with Brad. I really am liking these videos we're getting from these content creators of long-term usage of these products. It allows you to get a much better feeling, especially if it's a reviewer you trust. It allows you to get a much better feeling of the product. Because I can go to the Sim Racing Expo in May, but if I only get 45 seconds with a product, I mean it might be enough for me, but it's probably not going to be.
Next up is the seat mover versus 3DOF motion rig video. And I didn't get to watch it, but I took a glance at the synopsis. And this guy seems to be in favor of the seat mover. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, it's Race Beyond Matter, and he gives it a decently positive review. I think he tried two different ones. I'll be honest, I skimmed the video because I'm just now coming along on motion. The seat mover thing is just not for me. And to me, I think it would be very weird. He says the opposite in his video, but to me, I think it would be very weird if my seat was moving and my pedals were static. I think that's going to break something for me. Um,
me
And
too.
that goes right against his argument
yeah,
that he complained about the monitors being static, but doesn't have a problem with the pedals being static.
yeah,
That's not logical.
yeah. Like I said, his argument was the exact opposite of mine. I haven't used it, so maybe he's completely right. But to me, that just seems like it would break something in my brain.
And you can set video settings, can you set video settings in iRacing, or was it we talked about a software that will actually
I think it's
make
the
the
cubic
video move
software.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
can be
that's a
done.
question for Chris again. But yeah, I think it's the cubic software that does it.
I mean, I get the point he's making. You know, when you get on the brakes, your body does lean forward; it lunges forward. But and there is some gravitational force that helps you, and that's why we've talked about, like, you take a Formula One car and how stiff the brakes are. The one thing we don't get is the benefit of the G forces actually moving our leg to help us push the brake pedal down. But again, to me, I just, like you said, Will, I think it's too much of a disconnect between my body shifting as opposed to the entire, what would be a car. You know, when I'm strapped into a car, my body moves with the car. Yes, is there some subtle movement to my body? Yes, with G forces, but not to where it's going to be inches of travel backwards or forwards. And where either I'm coming away from the steering wheel or getting closer to the steering wheel. That just, to me, it would just be too much of a disconnect between my head and what's going on.
All right, Brad, you already sort of answered this next question, so answer it again.
Yeah, we got a Instagram post here from Daniel Morad. I think this is the one where he's upgraded uh, the motion on his system.
No, 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 no. This is the one
Nope.
where he talks about should he go from the SimiCube 2 Pro
Oh,
to
that's
the
right. That's
SimiCube
right.
3,
That's right. That's right. That's
and
right. Sorry.
he actually says just he said it actually you should. He said it felt better, it felt smooth, it's so much smoother, and right out of the box it had such a natural sensation that felt so much more like a real race car.
Yeah,
Quote.
he gave high props to it. My question is, I mean, they've been talking about bringing the software updates to the SimiCube 2. So is that going to change when that happens? I haven't been keeping up on the SimiCube Discord lately, but
We haven't gotten any update, I can tell you that.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I was keeping up with the Discord for a while, but then I got tired of reading about everybody's problems and 1,200 people trying to fix somebody's, disconnect or something else like that. But I think the intent is still to get it there. Again, it's. I think that the SimiCube 2 Pro can do the same stuff. It's a software issue. Um, if Myra can do it, then SimiCube can do it. It's just telemetry based force feedback. That's all it is. Um, but look, yeah, I mean, again, is the SimiCube 3 probably better? Yeah, it's a refined motor. It's newer stuff, and that's fine. Um, but at the end of the day, I don't know if I'm happy with the two. I don't see myself doing anything. And again, to me, the only thing that would want me to do something differently would be, again, potentially with USB pass through. But they've already said they're not going that direction and they're going a different direction, and that's their choice, and that's fine. But I don't mind having a cable attached to my wheel either. That doesn't bother me.
No regrets waiting or maybe
No,
spending more money and buying the 3.
no regrets at all.
All right, Mike Lawrence has done a review on the BDH H2SQ.
Yeah, this is another long-term review like we've been talking about, but this one is on the BDH. Now this is the one that's both the H pattern and sequential, a true dual rail shifter, as he says. This one's 976 euros plus tax, um, which you know it's much cheaper than it was a long time ago when we were talking about the bazooka. But they really have come down in price. And if you just get like the sequential or H pattern by themselves, they're even cheaper. But this is a true dual purpose unit. Uh, you know, conclusion, it's an in-game shifter for serious H pattern enthusiasts. While expensive, it's exceptional build quality on authentic feel, making a top tier investment for immersion seekers. And that's really why you'd buy something like this is you want a good immersion. You want the shifter to feel like a shifter.
So interesting though, he did say sequential mode does feel slightly disconnected.
Oh,
Just the way
timing,
that it,
right?
yeah, yeah, that's interesting. But again, I don't know. My whole issue with this is I think that probably the hardware's fantastic. It's just I don't race any H pattern cars. I mean, I just don't anymore. Even if I jump in, I mean, I've got the Fanatec, whatever the Club Sport, whatever the heck it is. I just don't take the time to switch back and forth between H pattern and sequential. I just leave it as sequential. I mean, as far as if I'm going to run the the B car or the C car, I just only got to go through the gears a couple times anyway, and then you don't shift gears any when you're racing. So I have no need for an H pattern, and the Fanatec does okay. It's just that's one to me. The shifter is just one of those things that's yeah. It's I don't know. It's not a high priority item to me.
Well, for me, the Analog's metal shifter provides a very authentic feeling shift for $350. And so it's quite a bit cheaper than the plus thousand for this one. And it's a very small footprint too. And so I can't say enough about the shifter I have. And look, I'm all about immersion and stuff, but I don't need an H pattern. Just like you said, Brad, even if I drive a car that's an H pattern, I don't know it's an H pattern. I'm not that smart. I'll just run it with a sequential. Like I'll be in the Lotus 49 and I'll be running it sequential, but it's supposed to be H, but I don't know any better. So, but yeah, look, you want something that feels like a shifter, then get it. But I don't know if you want to spend 1,000 on it.
All right, tell us about the GSI Interlock wheel.
Will. Graves Dynamics put up a quick little hit on Instagram, just showing off the GSI Interlock that was announced. Was it announced at the expo you guys went to, or was it after
Yeah,
that?
we saw it.
Yeah, we saw it
Okay.
there.
Um, or the not the interlock. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The hub they've got that you can put different rims on. This is if I'm gonna do oval. This is kind of what I want to do. I want to put MPI Mazda wheel rim on this thing. He shows it off. Just kind of the buttons, the different options for the shifters. Interestingly enough, if you already have a GSI wheel, it has two connection options. One is USB-C in the back, and then it has the GX connection that some of the older GSI wheels made. It's like the one on in front of me here. It looks good. I like it. Like I said, if I ever do actually buy myself an oval thing, that's probably the way I'll go.
Yeah,
Drilling has this, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Tom about it just because we haven't been on at the same time, but I think he's been pretty happy with it. My only downside to this, and I looked at this at one point when I was thinking about maybe going a different direction, not for an oval rim, but thinking about on the roadside, is for me, I would not do the LED thing in the middle. That's an annoyance to me. I don't need a number
You
pad.
get it without it, though,
Number
right?
pad. You can, yeah, you can order it without it. That would be my only thing to get rid of.
I think you save like $70 if you don't get it too. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
another reason to not get it.
All right, this next one is not great news for the gaming world. AI is assaulting the gaming world nowadays. Um, Nvidia has canceled a gaming GPU for the first time in 30 years due to the global memory shortage, and it's basically because they're putting all of their product into AI demand.
this is disappointing. Look, there's got to be a way this company should be able to do both. To not put out any, to not even, you know, continue their normal, marketing cycle and sales cycle that they've done for years, to leave us all hanging like this. So what is this going to do? This is going to drive up the price of the 5080s because that's really the card that people are building with these days. And even the older, like I have, 4090s, those are still going to be at a high demand, I think.
I mean, does this look? Does this give the opportunity for somebody else to come in the market, or is it just that the memory is that far out of touch now?
How many people buy AMD graphics cards? I don't know anyone.
I had one years ago, but that's when they were actually pretty good. I mean, I think that for the most part, AMD's okay. Just AMD graphics, GPUs, and iRacing just don't go along very well. They never really have.
But this is an opportunity for somebody to come in and snag some of that market share. Problem is, things like this are slower than the boats
So,
and the
so wait
seas
a
that's
minute.
bringing them.
XYZ company comes in to corner the market. Where are they getting their memory? Because
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it such a shortage that no one can come in? Doesn't, again, nobody can get it.
yeah, it's a true global shortage of memory. Yeah.
What does that mean? More with the more demand is are they going to increase memory production, build more memory factories, or are we starting
Oh
to
yeah,
already
we
hit?
are. We got
Are
one
we
being
starting
built
to hit the
here
limits?
right in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
TSCM or TSMC from
But that's
Taiwan.
that's fine. We can
It'll be
increase
years
production.
till you see
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. But you increase production, and then what are you going to do? You're going to sell it to the highest bidder, and if the data centers and all that are the highest payers, that's where you're going to sell it. So even if you increase production, it may not still make it to the end user just because of the way the economics work.
Well, as the man goes, production will go. But what I was trying to say is that it's a slow process because those factories take a long time to build. So it's going to be a long time before production catches up to this demand. What's going to need to happen is the AI bubble is going to need to burst at some point. It's going to go the way of the .com boom at some point, and instead of everybody going after AI, it's going to be just one or two companies that are left remaining, and at that point, the demand will fall.
I don't know. It's pretty insane. I mean, I can tell you in the small town that I'm at, there's a huge data center that's coming. My hometown in Richmond, there's plans for four of them to be built. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, and Elon is going to put data centers in space now with solar panel and just leave them up there.
Yeah, he filed a filing with the FAA for 1 million satellites.
So if you have a build or you need a computer build, I mean, what is your guys' recommendations for our listeners? Or what do they buy for a graphics card? Get a 5080 while you can before they're gone, or what?
Bu- Buy once
Right.
and cry for the rest of your life.
All I gotta say is I'm glad I bought the 5080 in December. That's other than that, I got nothing for you
Good
because it's like
timing, Will. That was really good timing.
Well, I think I shared earlier. I mean, I'd gotten an email from Micro Center right before Christmas, and they were doing some incredible bundles on CPUs, motherboards, and memory. And I was just like, do I just buy it and stick it back in the closet for a while? And I almost probably now, I probably wish I would have.
All right, JJ gets a new simulator. This is a formula style rig with triples, and he's getting on up there in age too. So I wonder how he's going to enjoy getting in and out of that thing.
He's much more fit than we are.
Yeah,
Speak for yourself.
yeah, it's a nice rig. Cool Performance. Look, Cool Performance is a major rig provider in the European market. We don't know much about them over here on the U.S. side, and I'm kind of surprised that Jimmy Johnson ended up with them. But they got a nice looking rig. He's got big triples, but it does look funny how the triples are really low to accommodate the Formula style rig.
I just can't see myself. I mean, I can see myself crawling out of that, just like having to fall over to get out.
You'd be on your hands and knees getting out of that thing. Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was bad getting out of the Alberto, Mike, as low as that thing was.
I've never seen Jimmy in iRacing though. So where is he?
All righty, we've got Brad's favorite wheel.
All Brad.
Everybody
Uh,
else, just sit back and enjoy.
ah, all right, we got two videos here. This is about the Husenfeld one. Again, first one by Seven Pit. It's kind of a quick hit by Sean. Just talking about the kind of an unboxing and just doing a quick overview of it. Um, I did talk to Sean when we were at the expo when they debuted this, and I told him my concerns, and he understood them. And then he, he brought up some good points to me in regards to what he liked about it, and I'm sure at some point he'll do a full review. But for him, Sean's a small guy, and for him, it was perfect because it's not a very big wheel, and he liked it. Um, but the better video, I think, and it's just a typical, much more in depth, was Will Ford from Boosted Media. Did a nice about a 45-minute video on here. In typical, Boosted Media format, he's going to run through super in depth. Um, Gives it lots of praise. Build quality, it's plastic. It's a reinforced plastic composite material, but no flex, no issues at all. Super lightweight. Some of the concerns is in the ergonomics and the controls. The button layout, he says, is good. You can basically reach almost everything. Shifters are a little bit different. Again, it's a solid piece of plastic, but he had a lot of issues with the grips, and it's a way that the ergonomics are.
What
With
this
the
is a
way,
fatal flaw in my opinion, Brad. Sorry to interrupt, but this is where I'm a hard no when he got to this part because
yeah,
when he made me realize that the grips aren't lined up at the same angle as the quick release at the back of the wheel, you realize that your wrist or your arm is going to be all jacked up. It's not going to be in the best spot where all other wheels are with the grips. And so that means as you move, so he is saying you would have to physically move your wheelbase to accommodate for the grip that's at the wrong angle. Then you wouldn't be able to switch wheels easily because all the other wheels would be wrong.
yeah. I mean, he said he noticed. He put it on, and within a little bit of time, he was starting to get some pain in his wrist and his hands, and that's what he realized. Again, it's a very funky angle, so it puts your wrist at an odd angle when it comes to steering. So, and when you watch the video, he's got footage from him with the one, with this wheel, and then just with the traditional wheel, and you can see the difference in the angle of his wrist. Um, and for that was the reason for him. It was just a no. And look, like I said when we saw this thing, you know, stay in your lane. I am a Husenfeld fanboy. I have the pedals. I would love to have the shifter. I like their stuff. It's
You
just
want the
some
button
stuff.
box.
I love the button box. I think the button box is fantastic. And this is typical. This is the way they operate. They definitely go outside the box and they do things that are very different. Just for me, this is just it was not a win. And I think there's such a small segment. I think this would be fantastic for. One, it's 270 millimeters. It's way too small for me. I'm a big guy. It's just too small of a wheel. But like when I talked with Sean at the expo, he said this is perfect for him because he's a smaller guy. I get it. That makes perfect sense. Um, but yeah, it's nice to start seeing some full reviews on this. But again, for me, it's just a hard no.
All right, those of you who can read Spanish, you'll like the next app or option that we have. Uh, but not because the Instagram's in Spanish, but because it's another piece of PC artwork. Um, and it's a Pirelli tire, and the PC is inside it.
So you're using the Pirelli tire as a PC case, basically.
Yeah, it's neat. Um, it's like the guy we saw with the one that was built like a motor. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
if
I
you're gonna
prefer
have
that
it
one.
sitting somewhere out and you're gonna see it, yeah, I think it's pretty neat. But I'm too practical. I don't ever see mine. The only time I ever see my PC is when I reach over there and turn it on, and then I don't see it again.
Yeah,
Look,
mine's behind my monitor.
we always see these
That's
different
right.
style, PC cases, but it's neat to see one that's racing related, like the engine one we saw, and now the Pirelli, tire. Uh, the fact that it's racing related, it's so much better than like the shark. We saw the one that looks like a shark, or whatever. But yeah, this is much more in tune with what we're doing.
It does say here, if you can read it, that the tire is imported directly from Italy. All right, Brad, why do you need SimHub?
Where do I begin? So, if you don't know about SimHub, you need to find out about SimHub. SimHub runs so much stuff; it's ridiculous. If you've got a digital dash, you're going to run through SimHub. If you've got ambient lights, you're going to run through SimHub. If you've got overlays, you're going to run through SimHub. If you've got haptics, you're going to run through SimHub. SimHub is probably the most used sim racing program. It's ridiculously cheap. This guy should be making a lot more money than what he's making, but it's absolutely fantastic. You can get it for free. The only difference between the free version is you can make a donation to get the pro. You get better frame rates, and then you get more precise vibration. Super easy to use. Again, like I said, dashboards, haptics. If you're running Arduinos, if you're running an LED bars, or any of your wheels, so like if you buy a GSI wheel and it's got all the LEDs, you can program all those, and you can download stuff for them for lights and all that stuff. Wind sims, everybody, my favorite thing in the whole wide world is a wind sim. You can run that through it. Flags, indicators, touch boxes. I mean, it's literally like it's I couldn't function without it. I mean, again, I run so much stuff through it.
Look, like for example, my Cube Control F Pro wheel. Cube Controls had their own software for the LEDs that are on there, and it was so-so. But eventually, they did add SimHub functionality, and I was able to go in there and push some button and put in some programming that someone else did that I had nothing to do with. And now my steering wheel will flash blue, when there's a blue flag, or it'll do like the flags. It'll do the, oh, there's a car next to you, so it'll flash on the left side, and it does all this functionality with the LEDs now, just because I plugged in a SimHub plugin. Very cool.
Since you're our F1 guy, Will, take the next one.
Wait, when did that happen? All right, so OC Racing did a review of a new collaboration between SimLab and Mercedes AMG. They have put out a Formula cockpit, obviously AMG branded. It looks really nice. If you are a Formula person, it might be worth taking a look at. It's $1,099 without the seat. Um, Currently sold out with the seat embroidered with the AMG is currently sold out, but $1,600 if you want to put that on it. Uh, I mean, it's SimLab, it's quality. If, like I said, if you're more into F1 or Formula, then having the option for GT might be worth a look.
Boy, that seat is really laid down, but it's like you're laying flat on your back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing formula or if you're going to do prototype's going to be the same way. You're basically laying down almost like you would be in a formula car too. So
Yeah, not for me, but it looks really nice. And of course, with it being from SimLab, it's the highest quality, and I'm sure it's rigid and everything. Still not a fan of the slanted uprights. I don't know why the slant throws me off, but it does.
All right, Brad, you did used to run Sim Magic, so you might be able to tell us about this next one.
Yep, we've got another long-term review. It's a pattern here. This one's from Empty Box. So he said he upgraded to the SimMagic Alpha Evo about 3 months ago. So when he did, some reasons for his upgrading. He'd been on the Fanatec Club Sport V2, moved to the SimMagic Alpha Evo. That's 12 Newton meter. Um, so to their direct drive technology. Um, you know, as far as the wheelbase performance, again, we've talked about it before. I think this has got good reviews. Found the direct drive system to be much sharper and more reactive, of course, than a belt driven. So, look, if you're going from belt driven wheels to direct drive, that's a huge, I mean, that's like night and day. That going from from belt driven to direct drive was like going from gear driven to belt driven. That was the step that we had years ago, and this is the next step. Again, the strength 12 Newton meters, it's right in that kind of that sweet spot. I think that for most people, somewhere in that 12 to 15, 10 to 15, maybe. Did say one of the useless features was the ring light, and that was my complaint. I'm not a big LED fan per se, or those like that with Ace Attack, and then the with the Sim Magic doing the same kind of things. As far as the steering wheels he's got the GT Neo. That's a 300 millimeter formula wheel, and then he's got the 330T. That's the round wheel, 330 millimeters. Again, SimHub integration is there for both of those. That's the nice thing with SimMagic when they release these newer wheels that you do have the SimHub integration. Um, everything we've read's been pretty good. So again, not surprised to hear he's been happy with it. I know multiple listeners are using SimMagic. So I was happy with it too. I mean, I had the SimMagic Alpha, the 15 Newton meters. I was happy with it. I just wanted to go. I wanted more headroom. That was my biggest reason for changing. But yeah, another good long-term review. And again, like we discussed, it's nice to see some of these that these guys have been using for quite a while.
Mike, what can you tell us about the V&M Direct Haptics?
Well, it's Inside Sim Racing and their video, which is a review and setup guide of the VNM Direct Haptics pedal upgrades. And it's basically small haptic reactors that derive telemetry data from the sim and convert it into tactile feedback in the pedals. You can just bolt them to the back of each of your pedals. Simulates ABS, wheel lockup, engine RPM vibrations. Um, Unlike traditional rumble motors, though, these are linear actuators providing a punchy and acute feeling rather than just general vibration. And so he goes over the mounting and so forth. There is a controller. It's approximately $45 each. Not a bad price. SimHub compatible, as Brad has been alluding to. That's the way to go. But yeah, they don't make you faster, but they give you that feel. Is what he ended with.
Yeah, so over the last couple of weeks, I've added the SimMagic P HPR haptic or shaker, whatever you want to call it, to my brake pedal, just to simulate um, analog brakes. I'm enjoying it. It's definitely, that's the same type of motor this is. It's a linear, so you get quite a bit of feedback. Still kind of trying to get used to it, but yeah, from an immersion standpoint, it just makes it much easier. I was running anti-lock brakes on the shakers themselves, the haptics on the front, but it's a big difference between the whole pedal deck shaking versus just the brake pedal itself. Definitely finding it much easier to know when I'm getting into ABS and how much easier it is to get out of the ABS, especially in the corner, and just being able to modulate the brake pedal a little bit more. So yeah, I talked to Will about it before I'd gotten it because I knew he had it, and he said it was just you had to have it. So William says I got to have it. I got to have it.
Yeah, I did the cinematic version about a year ago, and V&M is about the only pedal I would consider actually trying over my Simagic ones, if it besides an active pedal. I've heard just great things about them, so I'm kind of glad to see them get their own thing. They're basically the same thing though. They're shaped a little bit differently, but yeah, they're just linear actuator. Like Brad said, there's a punch to it. I'm running mine, I think, at like 30%, 40 hertz or something like that, just on the ABS, and it'll still punch the back of that pedal. He says it doesn't make you faster. I think I'm noticeably slower when these things are not active because SimHub didn't load or something. I cannot drive without them. And maybe it's just I've gotten comfortable with them and I like the feeling there. But like Brad said, I can get out of the ABS and keep it on that line much easier when I have my haptics. It was a not very cheap, but it was a cheaper upgrade I did a while ago, and I'm 100% glad I did it. If you haven't done it, like Brad said, I would find somebody that has it to just give it a try because it is much different than the rumble motors or even the bass shaker vibrators that you can put on different places. Just being able to have that on the pedal.
And even just the bass shaker, when it goes away, it becomes harder because you've gotten used to getting the information that way. Before I got my bass shaker placed in a better place where I didn't have to have it turned as high to 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 really sense it, it would overheat. And when it would shut off, especially the smaller one that I used to have, when it would shut off, I felt lost. It was almost like you literally took away one of my senses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I
you
mean,
get used to
again,
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you do. I mean, and I upgraded. I replaced my 4 pucks on the corners with the larger Daytons, and it's like night and day. And yes, I've jumped in just to do something really quick, and just to see something, and I didn't start them up, and I'm like, oh, this is like it feels dead. The rig feels completely dead.
I want to talk about my active pedals a little bit, comparing them to what you guys are talking about with the haptics that you bolt to the back of the pedal. So my pedals do all that and more. I mean, I feel that haptic sensation, the RPM, the ABS, and all that. But when the ABS hits, the pedal's actually pushing back against my foot. It's not just the rumble of the ABS that you feel like you feel 100 hertz or whatever. No, it's more than that. You feel the 100 hertz, but the pedal physically moves against your foot like pushes back is the way it feels. But when you
Yeah,
stomp on that thing and it pushes back, you're like, oh, I better back off a little, and then boom, you're right at the limit of ABS.
yeah. I mean, in a real pedal's going to do that. The pedal itself is gonna vibrate because it's coming off the brakes. It's pushing back to get you off the brake pedal. So yeah, no, that's the beauty of the haptic pedals. It's just again, um, I like the consistency of the brake pedal. It doesn't matter what for me. It doesn't matter what kind of car I get in. I want this. I want the consistency in my brake pedal. I don't. I'm not into the changing the having the brake pedal feel different for every different car I drive. I want consistency. And that's just my preference.
And then
But
here at
having ABS, being able to feel ABS is an amazing feature that
Yeah,
a
no,
lot of
that'd be
people
cool.
might not have.
Yeah.
so today at Daytona 500, all we're doing is holding down the throttle. We're not even using the brake, but I'm riding my left foot on the brake pedal. I just have it resting there, and then of course, have my right foot on the throttle. But both of them are putting out RPM vibrations, and so it just feels. And then I got the butt kicker underneath me, and between the two of those, it feels like the rig is alive. It just you get that rumble in your feet and in your butt, and it's undescript, but it's really good immersion. Is what I'm trying to say.
So, Brad, the question is, who is your daddy shark?
I think Mike alluded to this earlier. This is a $10,000 shark shaped PC. Um, no, 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 no.
It's the theme of it's wrong. Yeah, it's not racing themed.
Hey, sharks go fast. They never stop moving. In fact, they have to swim while they're asleep.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's like 3, 4 feet tall or something. It's like really tall, and the computer's kind of up because the fin is down below and or the tail section. Cool
I
looking.
mean, it's, it's a $10,000 case. Come on.
Is it, or is it the hardware included in the
I
$10,000
would think
price?
that would be
It's
included.
included.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, but
But
again,
still, yes.
yeah, I mean, I would I would do motion before I would do this.
Because if it was just a $10,000 case, it'd be $12,000. So what's no, I can't come up with a silly transition for this one. Discord backtracks on its age verification apparently. What else do you know about it, William?
I know we're. This is probably too early to be commenting on this because yes, this came out and then they backtracked on it, and then today I saw a new story where they're using a company that is gonna do some stuff with the information you gave them that Discord specifically said they're not gonna do in their press release. So you know what? In a week or 2 weeks, when either the mob gets to them and they completely drop it, or when we come back and they actually implement the policy, we can probably comment on it better. But uh, short story is Discord got a new CEO. They're worried about trafficking on their platform, which rightfully so. But the policy they put out says they're going to require age verification on all users, which is what was leaked. They backtracked and said that no, it's only going to apply to a very small subset of our users who want to access adult material or whatever, age gated material. And then, yeah, I can tell you on the grassroots Discord though, somebody posted a link to, and they told us what it was. It's not even, it wasn't even something bad, but there's a message that pops up and says, "Hey, this has been moderated by Discord, and you have to do the age policy to see it."
So I had read that they wanted the plan was to get you have to present a picture of your driver's license or photo ID or a video like a selfie video of yourself to kind of prove you're of age. But then the people or the commenters were saying, yeah, but here's all the different times that Discord has been hacked and lost all their data. And so do you really want to give them your driver's license when they're being hacked left and right?
Yeah, they've been breached before. It was recorded. It was like a bunch of people's information was leaked. And yeah, I don't know. The cynical people say that they're just trying to farm your information to sell it. I don't know what's really going to come out of this.
Well, look, why do we talk about it on this show? Because we're using Discord right now to record this show. We use it during our races to talk to each other. How does this affect us on iRacing? I don't know.
Oh, in the sim community, it's huge. I mean, the Discord has taken the place of for just for us chatting TeamSpeak. It's taken the place of forums. There's no forums anymore. It's all Discord. I mean, and none of this was here when I left and got back into it. I was like, what the heck is Discord? I don't even know what Discord is. I had to figure all that out. But I mean, yeah, it's from the gaming community. Look, Discord is used by IMSA. IMSA teams use Discord on the pit boxes to communicate during the race weekend. So there is I mean, Discord is everywhere when it comes to communication.
Well, more to come.
Simpson, performance redefined, boundaries breached. What's that all about, Brad?
Just kind of a quick hit here. Looks like so since we've talked about the pedals, Mike had their pedals. We last week I think we talked about the shifter and stuff. So now they come out with the direct drive wheelbase and steering wheel. So this is still kind of new, just been announced. Looks interesting. It's all, of course, it's claiming, all kinds of different improvements over everybody else. It's got stupid LED lights like everybody has to put on them now. Open ecosystem, infinite possibilities. The steering wheel is the most heinous looking thing I think I've ever seen.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Did Huskinville actually get dethroned?
It is pretty ugly, the Simpson wheel.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah, so we're normally on Simpson about copying things, right? I don't think there's anything else that ugly out there.
Well,
It's too tall. I mean, it just,
It-
as a
they,
short person, it's too tall.
they went original, so maybe they need to go back to copying.
Well, they got the LED strips running down the side of the base, kind of like Ace Attack does. Yeah, but it's got its own look. But it's neat to see Simpson really expanding. Look, they are a low cost alternative. If you're into value or you have a budget, you gotta look at Simpson.
Just be careful with the expanding because a lot of their stuff looks like it's being copied. So this does look different. Haven't seen anything like this before. I mean, the steering wheel and the placement of those buttons looks horrible.
All right, Mike, it's a TikTok video, so you probably have the best access to it, but it looks like a high dollar custom built track racer setup. I can even see some LED lights, or is that just
So
gutter guards?
we actually showcased this guy iSim race last week when his rig fell over almost on him and he had to like jack it up to repair it, this and that. Well, he shows off his rig in this is like a rig tour. And what really caught my eye that I really liked what he did was over on the right side he has a panel for it has drink holders. He's got the two drink holders. He's got the little cushion you put your elbow on, just like in your real car. And I thought, well, that's kind of neat, and it's with the drink holders, it looks like it's right out of a console of a car, and it is. He ordered it online, like off of Amazon. He expanded his rig out to the right and just bolted it in there. And then behind the little console, he's got a place to hang his little Formula wheels that are right attached to his rig. And anyway, I thought the little center console thing was a neat idea that we really haven't seen somebody do.
And there's an
Uh,
Xbox controller down there, and a whole bunch of other junk. He's got a junk drawer right on his sim rig.
nope, 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 nope,
How do you like that organization, Brad?
nope, 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 nope.
Do you have a junk drawer?
I have a little drawer here at my little PC shelf, or a little not PC shelf, but mouse shelf that I got from some sport gadget that I like, but doesn't have junk in it. It's got my Allen keys and my chewing gum and a little bit of here or there for the race, but
It's a, so it's miscellaneous. That
it
qualifies
is,
as
it is.
a junk drawer.
But I'm not
I'm
putting
proud
an
of you.
I'm not putting an armrest and drink holders like that on my sim rig. Okay, I'm
That's just
just
going
not
too
doing
far,
that.
eh?
That's too far. Just way too far. It's a race car. It's not a street car. Okay.
Now, look, the next one is also a follow up from last week where we saw the triple vertical 75 inches on his sim slash flight rig. And so he put up another video talking more about it and the massive vertical FOV he gained and how cool it is during flight. Now, he talked about some of the drawbacks of trying to sim race with it, and he said it's obviously not ideal. But you could maybe do a windowed mode of iRacing that kind of lives in the middle of those triples, and then it would be FOV appropriate.
Well, then you're just throwing away
It just
monitor space.
turn them horizontal if
But
you're
he's
going to do
but
that.
he's
I don't
but he's
understand.
using it for flight. The whole reason he has
Okay,
them is
I
for
get it.
flight, right?
What he should do is just turn the monitors when he wants to fly and turn them when he races, just like
Right.
you do with a computer. You just turn it from portrait mode to landscape
And
mode.
he doesn't really
Just
have
pick the
them
whole monitor
mounted.
and flip it over.
He has them laying on the floor, leaning against the wall. Let's
Yeah,
be honest here. And
they
so
just
he
pick
also
it up.
says they're too low. His eyeballs aren't in the center of the monitor where they're supposed to be because of that.
Yeah, and you can't with when you're flying, it doesn't half that first monitor is wasted because you're not going to see any of the gauges. They're all blocked by the rig. The simple solution for flight sim is VR. I mean, I'm sorry, but you cannot beat VR in a plane because you can turn around and see the plane you're dogfighting. I mean, some people use the head tracking stuff, but if you turn your head with the head tracker, then you can't see the monitor because your head's turned away from it. You can't beat VR in flying at all. Um, and this is definitely a lot of wasted space when you're racing.
It's an idea, but I mean, but I don't know if it's a good idea.
That's not a good one.
So it's an idea. All right, right. We'll just leave it there. All right. Well, this next idea has been pretty common in a lot of places. They're popping up all over the place, aren't they, Mike?
The McLaren Racing Center is brand new in Indianapolis, Indiana. The new, it used to be the Andretti Green Race Shop, but they've totally gutted it and redesigned it for McLaren Aero. And so they're running all their race teams out of this facility now. They opened it to the general public, I think, this week, where we've seen a lot of videos of it. But Advanced Sim Racing put up a video of their custom cockpit that they built for McLaren Aero with the papaya orange motion, all the good bits and pieces like active pedals. What do you guys think of the papaya orange McLaren rig? It looks pretty sweet.
Well, the drool is coming down your face.
I like it. It looks good.
It looks really good. I love the colors.
All right, we got one more, and the question is, what are we going to get first? This handbrake or upgrades to race control in iRacing?
You probably get the handbrake. So, just a quick hit here. This is Simpsons got a handbrake coming out soon. The HB Pro handbrake. So, it looks pretty similar to a lot of the other ones. It's going to be, it's probably spring with a rubber as far as the pullback. It does look like though it's got haptics built into it as well. So we'll see. And I'm guessing that the green bar at the bottom is a stupid LED. So because every handbrake needs an LED.
Results. Let's talk results and jump to our first week of the NIS Daytona 500 Wednesday Open. Kyle Pendergraph wrecked out by a dumbass. Went a lap down for speeding in the pits at lap 40. By lap 77, I was the first car a lap down and playing it safe. On lap 98, I saw a wreck way ahead and checked up, and the car behind me just cleaned me out, sending me headfirst into the inside wall and causing my engine to blow. Only had a 2x from it, but there was still too much damage. Chris Waldron, P35, was riding on lap 30 and car in front disappeared. I got damaged and crashed, then the car reappeared. It's the worst net code I ever saw. David, P15.
Yeah, I had to drop back to the back on the last run because I was sitting at 21x. I just constantly getting caught up in the wrecks. If you're stuck anywhere in the pack, just about other than the very front, and sometimes even the very front, uh, you're at risk. And they just kept happening around me. Um, I got caught in one of the major events. I can't remember exactly what caused it, but it caused 13 minutes of damage. I think it was as we were passing lap cars. The For some reason we just could not get around lap cars very well when they were staying low. And quite frankly, if I'm a lap down, I'm going to stay low until I'm more than one lap down because it allows me to get caught. It gives me the best chance of being in the lucky dog spot, basically, or to even race my way back onto the lead lap. But I also spent in the pits, and that put me in that situation. Was amazed though that with 13 minutes of damage, I was still keeping up with the draft when I got it down to about 9 minutes of damage. But because I kept getting hit so much, I had already served a penalty, gotten the lucky dog, gotten involved in another one, and then the last one, I just had to serve a. No, this was today. On the last one, I just dropped all the way to the back and let the field go because I didn't want to get DQ'd completely.
Brad, it was the white, it was the backstretch. You were the leader on the top lane. You were in position. P2.
Yeah, what could have been? So, kept the car perfectly clean the entire race. Just tried to kind of play the long game. Just stayed around the front the whole time. Tried to avoid the mess. Um, Really painful race. Lap cars, huge issue last night. If the guys stayed low, we were okay. The ones that stayed high, every single time, caused an accident. I don't think it was so much the lap cars; it was just everybody else in there. No one could seem to get by anybody. It was an absolute mess. Literally, if we came up to a lap car, we were going to have a yellow. But did manage to lead some laps after the last green flag stop. So killer entry, about wrecked the car, but I don't know if guys ended up with speeding penalties or what, but I ended up coming out of, I mean, what did I jump, Mike, from what, like sixth to the lead after the green flag stop or something? It was stupid.
You came out
Um,
with the lead on green flag stop, and I was
yeah,
stoked. I'm like, well, if it stays green, he's won it.
yeah, but the guy that was with me just wasn't pushing hard enough, so whatever. We ended up with the green white checkered. Was in P2. Guy we got it. We're up on the high side. Probably going to end up having a run, and the guy that was, I guess, one, two, three, was in third, maybe fourth, third or fourth, coming through the trioval, literally just shifts a whole lane to the right where I'm at, and then hooks me. And from that point on, pretty much everybody was wrecked. I did manage to kind of get the car going, past some damaged cars, and the guy that actually took the win got DQ'd, you know, because of incident points. I mean, all said and done, I ended up with a 4X, and I got that on that accident. So, they ended up bumping me up to P2. It was a very long night. I'm very tired. We started at 9, and it was 12:40, 12:45 by the time we got done. Way too long. But yeah, I'll take it. I don't know if I want to run again tomorrow night or not. But I haven't decided yet. But yeah, happy with the P2. Last year, I think I came out of Daytona with a whopping, like, I don't know, 14 or 15 points. So it was a very tough start last year.
Almost. It was so close. Let's talk Justin Pearson's race. I got to see some of that. I was watching from above. He was in the lead pack. Lead pack catches a lapper, um, and this particular lapper stayed on the bottom. And as the field went around him, just like you said, Brad, they just wrecked. They all wrecked, and so Justin got wrecked out. Too bad. And then John Curley, P12. This was a woulda, coulda, shoulda race for me. Started on the pole. Everything went green until the green flag pit stop on lap 170. Had everything set up perfectly. Recruited guys to pit with me. They all wrecked going into the pits. I made it through, but got a speeding penalty. If I would have nailed that stop, I most likely would have came out in first place. Instead, I went a lap down. We had 5 cautions after that, so I got my lap back, but it was too late to make moves. Caught up behind too many lap cars. At least I picked up over 1.0 on my safety rating and 36 I rating. I'll be running 2 more of these, hope to do better. Look, I was watching John from above as well when he made that green flag stop, and me and Justin were coaching him from above before the stop, trying to get him to visualize, hey John, you're going to get in there super hot. You're just going to go around those guys and make up 2 or 3 spots getting in. You're going to hit your marks. We gave him all this visualization, and guess what? He nailed it. I mean, when you look back at the replay, it doesn't look like he sped at all. He didn't lock the wheels. I didn't see the front of his car dip like he was going too fast. He was just like a half mile over when he hit the line or something, and it was so close. Let's move on to today. I ran. I got a P6. I'll just jump to the end. I was leading on the white. I went to block the top. I didn't quite get the block done. The guy went to the wall around me. And then after that, I kind of got snookered and I got hit and fell to a P6. Still happy with the finish I got, and happy that I was in position to win the race. That I was leading at the end with laps winding down. I was in position to win it, but I screwed it up. And look, I walked away from this race pissed, like I gave one up. I wasn't really happy. Now that a few hours have passed, I can move on. David, P11. David, P11.
I heard you. I, I was going to let truncate silence do its job while I scrolled back up. This one I ended up with a P11. Uh, I led a good chunk of it as well at the end, and then a late caution came out. Right after that one, on the next restart, I got a Phantom 4X, putting me over the drive-through limit, and I didn't get the chance to serve it on the first caution. For the second one, I not only did I go through the pits and force myself to the back, I intentionally came out of the pits late enough that I wouldn't even be caught back up to the field or have to let any or have to have anybody else let me buy them before the start. So I was all the way to the back and served the drive through. But they made the second one clean until the checkered, where three people got penalties at the end, putting me up to 11th.
All right. Good job hanging in there with damage and stuff. Chris got a P4. He said he started P3 on the green white checker. Thought we had it. I went high too early and the line was not organized. Wish I had that back. Yeah, Chris was saying after the race he felt like he gave one up. Bobby Jonas ended up wrecked out. Moving on to A Open, Brad, P17 at Richmond.
Yep. So got in another race at Richmond last week. So top split. I was just outclassed. It's just the way it was. So for me, the car was pretty tight over the long run. But I think it was more for me pressing hard early. There was a couple other guys in there that were running premier racing setups, and they were definitely running better than me. Just Richmond can kind of lull you into running pretty hard there at the beginning. It seemed like every time we had a restart, I was on the outside line, and you just fight to try to get back down. So we ended up it was kind of a mess to start, but then we ended up with an 80 lap green run to the finish on the same set of tires. So I think my right front was at like I don't know 11%. It was pretty bad, but had gotten up into about the tenth position or so, but just car was way too tight. So ended up fading towards the end. Stuck at a Daytona on Monday night, P5. Stayed up front most of the race and actually led some laps. As the end was getting close, the racing just became more aggressive. Lots of three wide before a late yellow that would give us a green white checkered. Pretty cool though. The last two laps we were stacked up three wide, about 5 lanes deep. Fantastic. Everybody held their line. It was really cool. Pretty intense for a couple laps there. Just everybody stacked up, and it was like, wait, we actually know what we're doing. We're not gonna, and we didn't kill him. No, we didn't. Nobody wrecked. It was really cool. So
Wow.
yeah, it was nice. So, the Daytonas and Talladegas and stuff is usually not, I don't enjoy them, but to come out with a couple good finishes, I'll take it as a win. So maybe it's a omen of a good start to the NIS season for me.
So A Open was 70 laps. A Fix was 35. Is that right? Is that out of whack?
Well, I think fixed is always half of whatever A Open is. So an A Open is usually what 40, 40-ish% of a full distance.
Okay, I guess it's right. Moving on to Kyle Pendergraft, a P10. With two to go, the leaders are getting crazy and just throwing blocks like crazy. So I sit back hoping for a caution. With one to go, it wasn't going to happen. So I hammer down and just catch the field, reaching 204 mile per hour. I'm flying up on the field, and then mayhem happens. And I was able to pick up two more spots and nearly my lap back, but the leader was just inches ahead of me, keeping me a lap down with a P10 finish. It was exciting for a 70 lap dash and to be a lap down because if I had gotten my lap back, I would have had enough fuel to finish. John Curley, P27, got wrecked out on lap one. An idiot forgot to turn his wheel going into turn three on lap one and came up and smashed the car in front of me. I had nowhere to go. A fixed, I ran just because I didn't want to run the 70 laps. I ran a P8. The first attempt, I was running top five. Got to the front. I led a lap or two. Missed the first three cautions, but got wrecked in the fourth one with front end damage. Stayed out anyway. I was in the mix on the final lap. where I was second on the bottom, but ended up getting wrecked across the line backwards, finishing P8. Next race, P20, had a great race going, was leading coming into the green white checker. I wanted to get a jump on the restart. I was looking up at the wall for the restart zone. I see the NASCAR black sticker on the wall. I think that's the restart zone. Nope. I just jumped the restart by 20, 25 yards and drove away from everybody and got black flagged. Uh,
Was that your first race?
that was the first, the first race that I had to restart from the lead in a long time.
You've been doing too much road.
Yep. Be open. John Curley, P6, overall safe race, only one caution, not a whole lot of action. Single file for the most part until the last few laps. Car was a little loose in the corners, but no problem hanging on to it. Would like to do more of these races, but with the 500 going on, I probably won't get to. Ring Meister in the IL-15 Indy next, finishing up last week. I tried some more. I started fifth, got through the first lap. At the end of the first lap, some guy about 5 car lengths back didn't even try to hit the brakes, flew through the grass, and took out 6 cars in the final corner. Next race, started P2, finished P3, had nothing for the leader. Then I started pole, but spun out not once but twice, but still finished P3. I really feel like I gave up the win on this one. Then I started third, but quickly wrecked out when a guy did an unsafe rejoin and clipped me just barely. Then I started third, but wrecked out with sloppy driving. I did not get a win for the week in that car, and that burns my hide. But darn it. Let's talk grassroots racing. Spa, William, P4.
Yeah, so we're doing a little abbreviated season just to line us back up with the officials. So just doing a bunch of our favorite tracks. We did Spa, and to get myself out of my McLaren comfort zone that I seem to always run, I've forced myself to run a different car. Um, Probably gonna be the Aston for the whole season. I've in testing whenever we've done stuff for like Mech or IMSA or stuff, I've really liked the Aston normally, but something just felt off here. I felt like I didn't have a front end. Don't know what it was. Felt like I was really easily overdriving the car here. Um, Still had decent pace, and I only got one exit Spa, which is a miracle for me. But I felt like I could do a little better. P4 finish, nothing really exciting except for one bad rejoin in the middle of the race that almost killed me. But just kind of just rode around on fourth the whole time.
Brad's wrecked out.
Yeah. So just a bad night. Spun in qualifying, and that was frustrating because when I spun, I never really went completely around. I kind of just was, I don't know, completely sideways, but it's like sent me back to the pits because I guess it felt like I was a bad boy. So of course, had to go back out and could not get quick enough time down. So I started like 28th or whatever it was, and then it was a crap show going into the chicane at the start. Um, I just I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, I'm already 28. There's like 36 of us, but the other 8 guys behind just like never lifted, just continued to pile in there. So I ended up with rear end damage and ended up looping it coming out of, I don't remember where it was, but I looped it. Just I nosed it in the wall pretty hard. I was running too hard because I was still pissed off from qualifying, but it is what it is. My own fault.
Okay, elbows out racing. William, P7.
Yep, and I am dumb, 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 dumb. This is the first or second elbows out race I've done this season, just because I've been so busy. So, luckily I haven't had to miss any grassroots races, but like I've only been able to get, like I said, I think it's my second one. Road America matches IMSA. I'm super fast here. It's one of my favorite tracks. I have pace here. Qualified second, just like 100th behind a guy in the league that is super fast. He is such a good driver. So I'm on pace. I dropped on the first lap a position because I overdrove it into Canada. And then I got that position back in Canada on the next lap. So kind of just rode the guy in front of me, gapped it to about 2 seconds until pit stops. And then on the pit, I just am an idiot. I was going in, slammed the brake, hit a bump and double tapped my pit limiter. So by the time I realized it wasn't actually engaged, I already had the black. 40 seconds top and hold pretty much killed any result I was going to get. Ended up finishing 7th. I went down to 11th and was able to make a little bit of it up, but just really bad self-inflicted problem there, and I'm still hurting this morning about it and still mad. Got even worse because in this league, we can run teammates. So I'm running with Will Weaver, and he tried to kill himself in turn 1 a little bit earlier in the race. Amazing save to not hit the wall, but he dropped back to I think 4th or 5th or 6th when we were running 2nd and 3rd. So unfortunately, we gave up a lot of points last night just on self-inflicted mistakes.
All right. Other racing I ran hosted 87s at Daytona P7. I got into it with a guy because he floated up and I would try to get underneath him, which resulted in a bumper hook and he got turned. He wasn't too happy with me. I looked at the replay. It wasn't pretty, but he did leave the opening and he did get turned. But anyway, I told him, sorry, dude. Didn't mean to. All right. Final thoughts, Brad Wren.
Um. So yeah, 2 drafting tracks, 2 decent finishes. I'm good with that. Yeah, we'll get the same scenario next week when we go to Atlanta. So, uh, just to update, I'd said last week was a little frustrated with Marta PC and the push to talk button box that I've ordered. So I ended up getting an email from them, and apparently they had shipped it out, but FedEx or UPS lost it or something. So I want to give them kudos. They got another one on its way to me. They gave me a $25 credit to their store. Apologize about it. So, things happen. Be happy to get that so that I can. That way, I've got one on the Dale Junior wheel, so I want to be able to use that as well. But I don't want to have to switch push to talk button boxes back and forth, and I don't want to have to reach over to my stream deck to talk to you guys. And it's much easier just to be able to push a button on the wheel. But kudos to them for stepping up and taking care of that. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's Daytona week, so it's a fun weekend of racing. Lots of stuff to watch. Looking forward to probably gonna watch a truck race tomorrow night. It's a stacked field of Cup guys, and watch Tony Stewart see if he can get in there and do something. But yeah, so have some fun, guys.
All right. We're in season. David Hall, final thought.
I had 2 mediocre finishes for Daytona. That's all I'm going to run this week. I've got to travel for the rest of the weekend. So, well, I guess we'll do it again next week at Atlanta.
Atlanta Dega, right? All right. Looking forward to that. William Westbrook, final thought.
Mike, I got a laugh last week when I listened back. Your shelves are in the mail, sir. So I'm
Oh,
sure
how about that?
you'll be excited to hear that. No, just happy I was able to make it tonight. I've actually had a little bit of a slower week and I was able to get some racing done, which was really nice because I think since the 24 I've run 2 league races and that's about it. So I was starting to miss my rig. I was getting withdrawals. Other than that, yeah, I've told the guys I committed to run one NIS race. I haven't decided which one, but I guess we'll figure it out as we go.
All right, you gotta let us know. We'll give you some prep. We'll help you.
We'll spot you. Okay. Well, thanks, William, for sending me some 3D printed speaker shelves. I'm looking forward to those. And uh, my final thought, I had some problems getting on pit road, coming into the stall and stopping. Look, I hit the dang brake, and I have the little brake indicator right in the center of my center monitor where I can see the brake and the throttle. I see the red up and down thing at 100%. Like 2 boxes before I even get to mine, I'm 100% throttle, and this car is going right on through the box. Like,
Brake bias.
oh my, I don't know what.
Brake
Well,
bias.
look, I turned the brake bias, and it still happened, and so I'm just lost. I have no idea what the heck was wrong. I'm thinking maybe I did need to recalibrate my pedal in the
Nope,
sim
nope,
or
nope. The car just doesn't want to stop. I got the same problem. I did it in the majors intimidator. I blew through. I overshot
It's
my pit every time. It's just they've done something with the brakes, and it just doesn't want to stop on the speedways.
especially the cold, especially when they're cold.
Yeah.
It helped when I started dragging my brakes when I knew we were coming to a green flag stop, and that helped quite a bit on the green flag stop that we had later.
And then second,
Yeah.
I brought this up last year, but I realize it's still happening. I I push grid, the green button at the top. I'm in the car. I go to my button box. I flip the little cover up and I flip the switch. I'm looking at the display and it's dark and I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. It's like 5 or 6 seconds before the display lights up and I can push the start button. Why is there a 6 second delay? I don't know.
I don't have one. You got the same button box I've got.
I do, and I cannot figure this out. So I'm asking my
So
listeners to help me figure
try
this out.
to map ignition to something else and see if it does the same thing. That way you can determine whether or not it's the button box or not. Map it to a key on your keyboard just to try. See what
Are
happens.
you talking about at the top of the screen where it says waiting?
No, I'm talking about the dash that lights up that you can see inside the cup car. So you can't hit the ignition button until the dash lights up.
Ah,
It doesn't light
Map
up when I flip the switch. That's the thing.
map map the ignition to something else and see what happens.
All right.
And
We'll
let's
try
determine
to.
what yeah, determine if it's the button or if it's something else.
I don't know, but it was, I was sitting there on grid and, there's 30 seconds left or something and I'm panicking. I'm like, I'm not able to start my car. I'm pushing the start button, the engine ignition button thing, nothing because the thing is still not lit. And then finally it lights up and I'm like, oh my God, what the heck? But with that, I was hoping for a win this week, but at least I was in position to get one. That's a little consoling. But hey, with that, we're happy that we're back in season and we'll see you on the track. Later.